Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and today we're going to be taking a look at patch 5.3. This patch comes out tomorrow on the 31st of November, but we've been granted a little bit of early access, so let's have a little bit of fun with it, right? There's a mini Ogre Kingdoms rework, so that's going to be the focus of this video, where the first thing, the bounties, aren't available to you until turn 3. You do have to wait 2 turns until that. There is a few things to talk about though, so yeah. Remember that the bounty system is going to be replacing the contract system. The contracts are going to be going towards demonetization man-eater. So when you get to turn 3, you'll be greeted with some quests on the side, and it's the usual location, so you click on that and you get some bounties. The bounty system is now rolling instead of being a mission that you pick and lose out on the others. So what you would notice is that there's a bunch of changes. First up, the bounties do have various different turn times, so some could expire in 10, 20 or even 30 turns, which gives you time to do all of them if you so wish. But yeah, you'll get some treasury, which does vary. From what I've seen through small campaigns, it's not a lot of money, but it does get a little bit more further down the line. Some of them will offer you meat, some of them will offer you camp growth for all your camps, and sometimes it's even an item or two. It very much depends on the RNG system here, which I know a lot of people aren't too keen on, but it's a pretty decent system. Pretty much everyone can issue you a bounty, I believe, but that makes sense as the Ogres are a true neutral faction, so you can expect bounties from even the most random of factions. What I have noticed is factions close to you can issue you bounties. You don't have to directly see them. For example, with Grease's Goldtooth, I did get a issued bounty from the Overlords of Zardoz, despite the fact that I haven't seen them just yet, but they are neighboring to me, so the AI can see me despite the fact that I can't see them. It's not a bad system. In some cases it will send you off quite far, where I've had top knots before ask me to pretty much go into the wastelands and the marshlands for a Talisman of Preservation, which is a pretty good item. It's got a long time there. You don't have to do it. This is the great thing about it. It is an entirely optional mechanic, but in some cases you're going to want to capture a settlement, occupy it. But I have seen a number of different types of bounties. For example, capturing and occupying, raising or sacking, or even killing off characters. So there is some variety there. The older system focused a lot more on killing characters, which unfortunately meant that in some cases, by the time that you get to those characters, they'd be dead. What I would say is if you use this mechanic early into your campaign to try and pick up a bounty, you're likely going to shape how your campaign is going to go. This is because you're going to start getting into war with other factions, which ultimately you might have not dealt with until later down the line. Once it's done, it will say it's completed and it will just naturally refresh as time goes on. Your rewards will instantly just accept, so you don't have to actually go back in there and accept anything just in case. It's a pretty good system. So let me just give you some thoughts on this. I've played a fair amount with both Scrag and with Greasus. It's not a bad system, but I do feel like, again, bounties are going to be forgotten about. Early on into your campaign, it can shape quite a lot of things. Picking up a Talisman of Preservation, for example, is going to be quite good for you. But yeah, I don't know. It's way too little reward at the very beginning. I feel like the numbers could be buffed up a little bit. The most I've seen is around 1,950 or something. This is very early on into the campaign, I mean. But I feel like they should scale. If there's going to be a 10, 20 and 30 turn marker, which there is, it would be nicer if the 30 turn one was a little bit more dangerous and required a little bit more work, but the rewards were a bit higher. I will say though that this is a much better system than the original. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking for something that might be forgotten about but will have its benefits as it goes on, especially the camp growth stuff, is being able to power level a camp with, I think it was 100 growth per turn for 5 turns for all your camps faction wide, is really good if you're expecting to build up and have a few fortresses laid down onto the ground. By itself, not that exciting of a mechanic. However, comparing it to the original contract system, much better. Alright, well now you're going to be wondering why I'm playing as Bertsche, but the Mercenary system has changed for the Ogres, meaning that it would mostly benefit you if you're playing other factions, or if you're playing a co-op. So, for you co-op players, this might be quite interesting. So, yeah, Ogre camps have changed, where mercenaries are going to be working a little bit different now. You can actually get more of them per army, and different types of units. Very similar to that of the Warhammer 2 system, which implemented the Ogres for a random patch. If you want to pick up mercenaries, you're going to be dependent on ogre camps in your vicinity. So with Dryka being my example here, as an ogre camp just starts right next to her, you will be able to start picking up ogres from the very beginning, as per usual, but also have a few different options. Now, here's where things get a little bit interesting. You're very dependent on keeping them alive if you want to keep using more ogres. This is why I think it works better off in co-op mode than anything else. Because the AI is very unpredictable in Total War Warhammer, well, Total War in general, and it might end up getting into a war and getting destroyed. That, and the fact is, you're going to have to build up your relations with these ogre factions, which can be a bit of a problem if you are one of those players that, you know, likes to declare war in a Total War game, right? It's one of these things where you might end up, for example, fighting against Talabecland, and these ogres now hate you for some reason, because you don't know where they're going to be in terms of relations with other factions, if they consider them friends or not. As long as there's a camp in the vicinity, you'll have access to some of these lads. I will say I'm not 100% sure if the AI recruiting from these camps will also affect your pool. It's something that I asked but never really got an answer for, which is kind of disappointing. But yeah, early camps, basic ogre bulls, and then additional hand weapons, but as you start progressing, you'll start to get access to man-eaters, Mournfang cavalry, and also the giant. The issue here is, again, unless you're building up with your relations with the ogres, you will likely be getting into war with them, so yeah, it's not the best. If you're playing co-op, yeah, you'll be taking advantage of this because you've got a friend who's playing the ogre, you're playing the ogre, and they can recruit from you. It's still better than nothing, and it does give you access to more units, which I know people are going to be quite happy with. One thing is, it's not very clear when it comes to the generation of troops. Obviously, it's like a random chance and so on. I think it was like 5% or something. And I think it could have been improved a little bit better by saying which level the camp is, because right now, yeah, there's no way to tell. So you just have to get there, open up the recruitment panel, and hope that you can get the units that you're looking for. It's a better system. I mean, it's better than the old one where it was pretty much just one ogre and you're done. You're still able to get 3 different types of ogres, or you can go with 3 of the same. Mournfang cavalry, for example, very, very good troops, and you can get them with all your armies if you so wish. The mercenaries will still remain as an oh shit button. I'd like to see down the line maybe like a recruitment panel, which is like worldwide recruitment and so on, but that would only be relevant when the Dogs of War faction comes into effect, not so much with just the ogres alone, because it would be pretty empty. Either way, I think this is the most important thing to say. While they're not the most exciting of changes, they are definitely a little bit of an upgrade. The bounty system is obviously much better, but the recruitment system for the mercenaries, I've been playing a little bit of Carl Franz in my own time, yeah, works out quite well. Being able to pick up some Mournfang, if they survive, because you're very dependent on that, does make it a lot better. I'm not trying to shit on this, by the way. It's more of the case of, they're smaller things, but sometimes the smaller things do kind of rack up. I just feel like the mercenary stuff could be improved ever so slightly. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let's start a bit of a discussion. There's not a lot of videos coming out today. It's not a lot of stuff in the patch. It's mostly just balance fixes, but that's perfectly fine. I know some people might be mad at that. We are expecting a DLC hopefully soon at some point. So yeah, let's hope for the best. See you guys. Have a great day.